What is going on, guys? Tim Ruswick here from Game Dev Underground. Today, we're talking about game dev businesses. More specifically, like, what is the one most important thing that you have to do in order to start a business? So, I don't know. I've talked about this a few times, but I don't know if a lot of viewers know this, but I run a game dev business. But it is not a traditional business like you might think. It's not. I don't make games and then make money off of those games yet. Anyway, I actually run a freelance game dev business, which means that I build branded games for companies. So they pay me. I come up with the game. I build all the stuff. I hire anybody that I need, artists, sound people, whatever. We build the game and then we deliver it to them for ad campaigns, for promotional things, for websites, for whatever they need for. So how did I get there? And what is the most important thing in actually building that business? And I think what a lot of people don't realize is a lot of people start making games and they want to make money from their games, but they don't know how. And they don't know what route they're going to take. I know a lot of indie game developers because I see all you guys' comments. I read all the Discord. I read my emails. A lot of indie game developers, they want to make a game and they want to make money off it. It's like their dream to make money from games. And I've talked about the multiple ways to do that. I have a video called 5 Ways to Make Money from Games, and I'll link that up below. There's a lot of different ways to do it. That's just 5 of them. There's even more than that. But one of the common factors in every single one of these ways to make money from games is the fact that in order to do this, you have to look at game development as a business. Now, I hang out on Reddit, and I see so many comments from people that are saying game dev is too risky as a business. It doesn't make sense. There are way more easier ways to make money. You should do software. You should do websites or whatever. It's way easier to make money doing that than game development. And I understand these frustrations because I used to feel that way. But these frustrations come from the perspective of you make a game, you cross your fingers, and you hope you become a millionaire, right? And even some of the more informed people are thinking, make a game, do some marketing, post on Twitter, post on Facebook, do all these different things, cross my fingers, hope I become a millionaire. Or some of them aren't even that creative. They're just thinking, okay, if I could just make $1,000 a month or something like that to supplement my income, right? But they're still starting with the game. And the problem with that is you need to start with the business. When you start with a game, yes, it's extremely risky. It's like starting a company based on some random stuff you found in your closet or some random idea you had one day. And that may work, right? Like people have definitely started random ideas they got while they're in the shower and went and started a company out of it. It's happened, but that's not a actual workable route to be successful. That's not an actual successful path that everyone can take. That's taking a risk. That's like a shot in the dark. So how do you actually build something intentionally that can grow over time into a business? And it really comes down to thinking of it like a business. I forget which book it was, but there's an old saying that you should work on the business and not in the business. And a lot of game developers, they work in their business. They build the games. They build these different things. They don't like to hire people. They don't like to, I like to save money on stuff. What I've found for me and my business, because I look at it as a business, right? Like my hobby game development is separate from my business game development. All the stuff I've showed you guys are games that I make just because I want to make games, because I love making games. But there's a whole set of games that you guys haven't seen, you probably never will see, of branded games that I make, games that are sponsored by companies, games for ad campaigns and that kind of thing. And those games, the reason they exist is because I started from the perspective of a business. And what does a business need to make money? A business needs clients, right? Or customers. And the first thing I do is I figure out who my customer base is. And then once I know who I'm talking to, I can build systems and structures to communicate with those people and tell them the things that they want to hear. There's a lot of different ways to do this. Marketing and advertising. I have a whole series on indie game marketing. That's how you find customers. I haven't talked a lot about freelance stuff and how to get clients and all that stuff, but I'm sure I'll cover that in the future. But really thinking about starting a business versus making a game is an important distinction, because the decisions you make in a game are different if you run a game dev business than if you make games for fun, right? If your goal with a game is to learn how to make a game, you don't need to finish it. Why? I mean, if you learn the stuff, there you go. If your goal was to learn programming and you learn programming making the game, why do you need to finish the game? If your goal was to learn art and you did art for the game, why does the game ever have to get finished? If the goal is to make money, that's a lot different. I mean, everything from the genre you pick to the type of game you make, all that. When you're looking at it as a business, there are very different perspectives that you have to really understand. And more specifically, you have to understand who is going to buy this and why. Now, the easiest way to do this is obviously to build a game that you want to exist. Because if you want it to exist, you can target people like yourself that would like this personal game. But that's, as you grow and understand marketing and all that, that's great. But you'll notice that that's only sustainable for so long, and that you actually have to understand your target customer, your target market, and all this stuff to really make a dent in the industry. And it all stems from thinking of as what you're doing, thinking of it as a business. If you don't think of it as a business, you're not going to make any money off of it. And a lot of people, they don't end up thinking about the business part until they're finished with the game, or until the game is right around completion or right around launch date. And that's the wrong approach. If you're making games for a hobby, that's fine. You go for it. You make all the games you want to do. But if you plan on making money from your games, you need to look at this as a business from the start. The decisions you make needs to be made as a boss, not as some dude that's working, in their free time to make something they love. And there's so many different decisions that get made from those two different perspectives. Like, one, you gotta have a deadline. If you're just trying to learn stuff, there's really no deadline for completion or anything like that. Two, like, you really, really, really have to test the hell out of this thing. You have to make sure this is what people want and what people love. And you have to follow the customer base on what they want out of the game, the things that make them happy. And I see so many people that don't get this, and they go in so many different directions because of this, because they're not looking at what they're doing as a business. It's more of like I'm going to make something cool and hope I make money from it. You don't accidentally make money from something. It never happens. So you have to be intentional about it. And if you're not intentional about it, you're going to have a lot of trouble making money. Now, everybody's at a different place, right? Everybody's at a different scale. Everybody's on a different step along the way. So, you may not be at a scale where you're ready for monetizing your games or making money from games. And actually, I recommend making a few games before you even think about actually making money from games, because it does take a lot of work. It takes a lot of different skill sets, and it always takes longer than you think it will. So I recommend that you finish a few games before you go that route. I've done that. I have a lot of free games out there. Excuse me. Mostly Game Jam stuff, but I have a lot of stuff out there, and I recommend that you build some stuff like that before you actually go the route and figure out how you can make money from it. Like, I certainly couldn't, in my early days of game development, I wouldn't dare take money from somebody to build a game for them, because I was all over the place. But you got to think of it as a business. If that's what you want to do, if you want to make money, you have to start and end every decision as a business. Does this move us forward towards our financial goal? Does this make money? Does this lead to monetization, etc.? I'm not saying you have to sell out and lose your soul and all the stuff that gets exaggerated by people monetizing their art. You don't have to do that. But creating games as a hobby is very different than creating games as a business. Again, there are so many different decisions that have to be made. There's so many different things that come up, and your perspective has to be making money. It has to be launch dates. It has to be systematic releases. It has to be promotions periodically. You have to have a series of titles. You have to look at your game's longer lifespan, figure out how to continue making revenue over time from it. You have to grow your title base. There's a lot of stuff that you need to be thinking about as a business owner versus a hobbyist. So that's my message for today. I just wanted you guys to really think about why you're doing this. Why are you making games? And if it's to make money, that's fine. That's totally cool. But just put that ahead in the priority list. Think of everything through that perspective. Think about how you can make money from this thing that you're creating. So is that your goal? Let me know in the comments below if that's your goal to make money, or what your objective is to actually make games with. And I want to know. Let me know. But once again, until tomorrow, I'm Tim Ruswick, and I'll see you guys then.